I'm going to show you everything you need to know about Codex as if you've never coded in your entire life. I'm going to take that one step further and also show you very useful tools that makes the entire development process extremely easy. So by the end of this video, you're going to have a full understanding of how to use Codex to build whatever you want. Does that sound good? Let's jump in. Welcome back, y'all. Today's video is sponsored by Zapier. They say, Corbin, we got to show the SDK here and how easy it can integrate into any app builder. And I said, let me show you how to do it in Codex, because Codex, oh my gosh, has there been a lot of hype around this specific app builder? It started with Cloud Code. There was some cursor love in here, but today I want to go over Codex. First things first, install it, right? That's known. Let me go through the user interface here. What you'll notice is that I'm already inside a specific folder here. They call them projects. This is literally just a folder on your computer. Right click, new folder, that situation. This is where code is stored. When you start a new chat here, you have the ability to choose whatever project you want to work in or just folder. Think of it like where all that specific app code is, it's stored in that folder. The next question I'll ask over here is whether to work locally, new work tree, cloud. Work tree is like parallel agents running two at the same time. But what you need to understand is this cloud here. So what cloud is in this context is that you put in a prompt, you could have your computer shut off, walk away, and the prompt is still going and executing and creating code. The work locally, as you can assume, is literally just on your computer. So if I put a prompt here, I say like, make me a landing page, and then I shut off my computer, it gets cut off because it is working locally. The next right here are branches. This is going to be extremely confusing if you've never coded in your entire life what a branch is, what this means, I'm going to put in the description down below a GitHub video that shows you everything you need to know about this in under 10 minutes. But to put simply, think of it like you are playing a video game. Let's say you're playing Mario. In Mario, you hit flags throughout the entire map. These are checkpoints. Think of branches in the same way, where essentially you could reach a checkpoint, have that checkpoint. Let's say the checkpoint is branch 1. You could go crazy onto the second checkpoint. And you're like, you know what? Actually, I messed up on this part of the journey. Let me just go back to the first checkpoint of branch 1. And you can kind of do that. There's one version of that. This is version control. Think of it like you have version 1 of the application, and then you can get version 2. But simply, all you really need to understand is you can just code and do things in main branch. That is fine. And this connects to GitHub. Over here is your models. This does have real implications, but what I suggest you to do is typically opt for the higher model, especially if you're inexperienced, as this is very graceful in helping you with airflow. This is so you can dictate audio. There's a bunch of other cool stuff we can do here, such as plugins. Think of these like skills in a way. This allows you to integrate third-party applications into your workflow. So for example, creating motion graphics from prompts. This is just a more native way of doing actions within your application. Also things like giving Codex the ability to control things on your computer, like computer use. Jumping over automations, this is a little bit more for advanced workflow. To give you an example, this would be like if I create an application and I submitted some new code, this would be called a PR pull request. We could create a automation where it would check the code and make sure there's no AI slop. On top of that, you can notice that there are things called cron jobs, or to put simply, every day at 7 a.m. PST, do something. For example, we can create a first like daily brief, right? Set up an automation that gives me a morning brief each weekday, what's on my calendar, important unread emails, and everything of that nature. That's the kind of situation there with automations, is they are just automated code files that do specific tasks that you request. If you're just starting out, in reality, are you going to use a Codex automation? Probably not. Let's do a workflow together though. So we're going to add a new project here. We're going to start from scratch. We'll call it Codex Love. Save. In Codex Love, this is very high level. And what I mean by that is that in theory, we could approach this by creating a software application we want to sell to consumers. Or we can approach this by creating an internal application we want to use on our computer. Or we can approach this where we're just talking to it and it's doing things for us, right? One example of what's an internal application we could build for a computer, Corbin, is let's say you have a bunch of JPEG files that you want to automatically convert into PNG files. That's an example. So instead of like me going down the route of like, hey, make me a landing page, which you've seen a ton of tutorials on, let's build an internal application that you could use and only you can use that's actually valuable to you. So one example of this is if you're going online, you're browsing and you're screenshotting a bunch of stuff, you don't necessarily want to name each image file. So I say, I want to build an internal application that looks at images and renames them to what the image is. Another thing to know is that you have these options here of like, ask for approval, approve for me, full access, run full access, you'll be good. This is going to let the AI model flow more. When dealing with more high risk type of task, then of course, go with like, let me approve, let me make sure that you're not doing anything crazy before you execute. What I really want to show you here, though, is a commentary that's happening in the software space where a lot of people were like, why would I pay for that app when I could just build it internally? This has some validity for sure. I think in the space, it's really micro niche to whatever you specifically care about. So if you work in Excel sheets all day, I can almost guarantee you using something like Codex here and building an internal application, there could be some value there. So here we go. I'm going to go ahead and let it shoot it off and create this repo. And repo in this context is just folder. So went ahead and finished. And what we can do, since it's a local running app, is we go to localhost 3000. This is where this is going to be fitted. And conceptually, you can understand that from here, you can keep going back and forth, editing on how you want it to look. Let's see if it works though. So I took some screenshots of some dogs. Let's find out what breed they are. I'm gonna go ahead and hit import, boom, and then add the images and you'll see it's pending. We'll see if it works. I went ahead and hit selected, suggest names, and we should get new names for all these images. Nice, right? Golden Retriever puppy, running French Bulldog, Dachshund, jumping in the grass, white husky, and German shepherd. I know this is an extremely simple example, but this is all coded. This is all native to me, and I can do whatever I want, whatever the context is. So for example, for you, it's like Corbin, ideal for a lot of PDFs, and there's a very specific thing I usually extract from those PDFs. There we go. There's an internal tool you can build. So now that you know conceptually how to do that, let's walk through the user interface of building itself. Start a new chat, click this right here. You'll notice that we have a little sidebar here. This brings up all the other parts of a real application, such as the files associated with an application, which is important if you wanted to edit a specific file. But we can also bring up terminal like this, which is right behind me right here. This is where you can do terminal commands if you're familiar with that. And then there is other things like the browser feature, which loads the browser within Codex here, and reviewing and pushing to GitHub. Let me show you something that's really cool that's going to make your entire development experience a lot easier. And on top of that, when creating out a local application like this, be able to easily integrate to over 9,000 applications. And that right there is the Zapier SDK, which takes a ton of complexity that would have otherwise required a little bit more developer knowledge to integrate, and makes it a simple SDK that we can integrate into our application. Think of it like a one-size-fits-all to access a bunch of cool different applications like Gmail, HubSpot, Slack, Jira. And I'm going to show you that with a real software that I created here called TechSniff.com. This aggregates all tech news across the entire internet and then gives you one little dashboard. You can scroll down, see all these different references. Wall Street Brett's talked about the new IPO happening of SpaceX, everything like that. You click that, go into that. And what I'm going to do right now with Codex is I'm going to use Zapier's SDK, simply install it into my pre-existing project here, and then create a very fast connection where I'll get emailed about anything that has to do with, for example, this SpaceX IPO that's happening pretty soon here, which is a side note is pretty crazy, the evaluation here. To do that is pretty simple. So I'll provide a link, first link in the description down below so you can sign up, free account on Zapier. Here are the docs. We're going to simply just copy a link to the relevant docs here, or simply hit copy page so it has context of how to integrate this information and bring it to a chat. So I'm going to say I want to add, paste over the documentation, because I want for TechSniff here, anytime a news article is dropped about SpaceX, send me an email here. contact@webcafeai.com. Now, this is going to work because of the fact that I've made the connection here. So simply hitting add connection and then choosing your app. This would have been Gmail, for example. This is connected to my account. Therefore, I can do actions on Gmail. And as you could probably imagine, you can do a bunch of other actions elsewhere, such as Google Calendar and the entire directory of apps that Zapier integrates with, which then becomes easy to integrate with any application you're creating within Codex. So I'm going to hit enter here and let's go. For context, if I wanted to not use Zapier SDK for the integration of Gmail, there is a ton of learning curve, y'all. I mean, we're talking about security practices. We're talking about access tokens. We're talking about, whoa, the access token expires every 7 days for Google API situation. But with Zapier, it creates this nice little bridge that is secure, but also resilient to all the nuance that you would have to go through alternatively when developing with Gmail's API. To put simply, it makes a process and a large learning curve shrunken down to simply being like connect Gmail to Zapier, install Zapier SDK here, and then do whatever action you want to do. So in this context, I know it's going to find my relevant pipeline for creating articles, and it's going to add the SDK within there to identify when a SpaceX event occurs to then send me an email. Okay, so it finished up. I went ahead and added the Zapier SDK there and integrated within the pipeline. So when an article shows up, it clicks. Now I went ahead and just wanted to test out the SDK here to make sure it confirmed it would work. So I ran a test. and let's see if it showed up. And as you see here, it went ahead and sent it to the relevant email that I have connected and gave me the Gmail message ID, which coming over here, we can click this and there we go. So anytime now on TechSniff, there is a SpaceX relevant topic, it's going to send me an email like this and I can go ahead and check out the specific link as well. Nice. So there you go. You can build internal tools, real applications, and then if you want to ever integrate any type of third-party application, you add that nice little bridge there and you can get going extremely fast, which I like. So without further ado, as you already know, this style of videos, make sure to leave a like. I'll see you in the next. Does Zapier just quite literally make an SDK that makes it so that every single integration you ever wanted to put in your application is extremely easy type of video?